Today we got a real project. I've got some posts that I'm making for my daughter that are for a shade cloth support, so a shade sail support for posts. And I got these mounting plates, need to have holes in them. I could drill them, but I've got an arc droid, so I'm going to use arc droid to cut them. I've already marked out where those holes are going to be. Got to cut out some caps for the posts. And then I'm going to cut out some mounting points for the shade sail, 2 for each post. So plenty of stuff to cut out, and we'll get started. So I guess I could have done this on camera, but what I did here is I created a 5/8 inch hole, so 0.625 inches. It's just a circle that leads in from the center, and the 0 point's in this exactly the center of the circle. So all I have to do is put the tip of the torch on the paint mark that I put on the metal and hit go, and it should cut a perfect circle right around the mark. So let's see if that's what happens. And just do that 3 more times. Probably work better with the ground. Okay, 4 of them. I noticed that the torch wasn't quite starting before it moved on the pierce, so I adjusted the pierce delay and holes all of a sudden cleaned up, so that apparently was an issue. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to cut is, well, I'll knock those out, but those dross holes, but the next thing I'm going to cut is the gussets to go on these and the posts. Alright, so there's my 4 base plates for the posts, and the next thing I'm going to cut is gussets. So each post will have a gusset Well, I'll have 4 gussets on it. So 1 on each flat side, a 2x3, 2x3, but 2x3. And when I ordered the metal, I ordered 4 base plates and I got 8 base plates. So I'm going to cut the gussets out of these and we'll see how that goes. The gussets, like I said, are just triangles. I drew those, I don't know, it might have been easier to do it here, I don't know, but I just drew those on Inkscape because I was in there doing other things. And so I drew the 2 triangles, and I think that'll use less material that way, so cut out a bunch of those. Okay, so here goes the gussets. I'm just going to put the torch up here. The gussets are 3 inches by 2 inches with a gap in between them. So the 0 is the bottom left corner. So maybe I'll start down here. Say this is 0. And come off the bottom a little bit. Make room for the lead in. And let's go ahead and cut them, see what they look like. Oh shit. Guess we're starting at the top. That's what happens when you don't actually push the 0 button and you leave it at the top. Half of them fell out. So if I had laid that out better, I could have got 3 or 6 cuts off of 1 piece of metal, but I wasn't being careful when I zeroed the torch. So that gives me enough for 2 posts. I have to do 2 more. So let's do some more. Okay, so there's all the gussets cleaned out. I mean, they weren't even held in very. The dross is just barely locking half of them in. I tapped them with the pliers, and they just fell out. So they're still hot though, so I don't want to touch them. There's the 4 gussets for each plate to hold the posts. The next thing I'm going to cut is the attachment points for the shade sails. So each post will have 2 attachment points. One at around 10 feet and one at around 8 feet, so they can do different configurations of the cloth. You know, have it high in the center and then low on opposite corners or whatever. But the posts will be on the inside here, and then these will weld on, and then the circle is the attachment point. So yeah, this is another one I drew on Inkscape because it's easy. It's really easy to do. A couple of squares with rounded corners, put a circle, and difference the paths, and there you go. So those are 3-inch, so let's go ahead and cut these and see what they look like. Okay, so I'm gonna zero this guy out, 3 inches, 0 point, and you know what, let's run a dry run just to see where that's gonna go. Should cut the circle first. I'm gonna keep using these. I've got one more after this, but keep using these extra base plates that my buddy ordered or had cut. Yeah, that'll work perfectly, I think. So let's see what happens. Get my shades so I can look at it without going blind. And run it. Okay, before I cut any others, I'm gonna lay this on the post and see if it's what I want it to do. If I was really good, I would hold the camera while I'm doing it. So let's try that. So here's my posts. And this gets welded onto the post like that. There's an attachment point. I think that'll work just fine. 7 more of those to cut out. Okay, so I'm going to cut out the caps now. As if you hadn't noticed already, this is all kind of overkill for shade cloths. I doubt the winds, I mean, it'd take a hell of a wind to knock these things over, but that's what I'm doing. So anyway, the caps are going to be a much lighter metal because I have it and it's less expensive, and the last thing these posts need to be is heavier. Here's all the parts we've cut out so far: the base plates, the shade sail mounting points, and the gussets. And then here's a 16 gauge. I'm going to cut the tops. All they're supposed to do is keep the rain out of the posts, so 16 gauge should be good enough for that. So I'll cut those out. They're just 3-inch squares. Should be pretty easy to do. Change the torch. Let's see, 16 gauge, 30 amps. And I changed the feed rate to 100 inches per minute. So I'll give this a try. So these should be fairly quick cuts at 100 inches per minute, and not very exciting, just 4 squares, but I'll quickly cut these, zero, cut the next, zero, and we'll get right through them. Alright, so there's my stack of parts from cutting today. I didn't cut out, as I said at the beginning, I didn't cut out the base plates because my buddy has access to, I think the place he orders the metal from, he can have it laser cut, and he did. So who am I to complain about that? They could have been cut out with the arc droid out of plate, but I think this way I only have to pay for the metal I bought and not all the scrap that would have been around it if I cut it myself, so that's good. So I cut the holes out of the base plate, cut the mounting material for the ropes, caps for the posts, and gussets for mounting the posts to the base plate. So yeah, I love the fact that once you draw something and you're happy with it, just you can pound them out. Move it, zero it, run it, move it, zero it, run it. You can do it. I mean, I guess you could do it all day, but makes it easy for, you know, me in a couple hours in my shop. I can get something done. I'm not going to weld these together today because my wife just informed me that garage time's over. I've got other things I have to do, so I will weld them together in a different video, or maybe it won't be a video. I don't know. Let me know if you want to see them welded up. But these are the posts, 10-foot long posts. As we said, there's my buddy, the tripod. Everything here is overkill. It's way too heavy for just holding up a shade cloth, but that's what I'm doing. So, but yeah, I'll weld those up another time. And thanks for watching.